Week. My name is Evelyn Kamel, and I will be your moderator for the evening. I'm a parent volunteer with the San Juan Unified School District. I have a junior at Mira Loma High School and a previous senior at Rio Americano High School. I've been helping plan College Week with Tracy, whom you met last night, and many others. Before we get started, here's tonight's announcements. If you happen to miss last night's presentation, or you would like to watch it again, or you want to watch any of the other night presentations, once the week is over, we will post the videos to the San Juan College Career Center website, and you'll receive an email letting you know when the links are posted to the site. Due to the short time that we are allowed it tonight, we are going to have you raise your hand, which is at the bottom of the screen of your Zoom meeting, and raise your hand and someone will unmute you when it's time to ask questions. We were going to do Q&A at the end, but however, due to a short amount of time now, we're going to just do questions during the presentation. So we're excited about our presenters tonight. Tonight, presenters hail from two prominent community colleges in the Sacramento area, Sierra and American River. Thank you in advance to our presenters. We appreciate you taking the time out to meet with us tonight. Let's jump right into our first presenter. We have Roxanne Luppino from American River Community College Career Education Department. She also provides supports for the 30-plus CTE pathways in our district. Ladies and gentlemen, Roxanne.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Evelyn. And thank you to everyone for being patient tonight. This virtual transition has been really difficult for everyone, us included. So I really appreciate everybody's patience and kindness. My name is Roxanne Luppino. I'm the outreach specialist for career education and workforce development. And today I'm going to share some of our career education programs that American River College has to offer. And throughout this presentation, please keep in mind that ARC has many programs, but I will specifically be touching on our career education programs. So before I do, let's start with just a brief Zoom overview. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, go ahead and just raise your hand by clicking on your participant tab, and then you should see a little raise hand icon. If you have any questions, feel free to do that. And then you also will have a little reactions icon with a smiley face and a plus symbol. Feel free to test that out. Give me a little thumbs up. See if you found that, because we'll be using that momentarily. So that leads me to my next question. How many of you know what career education is? If you do, give me a little thumbs up on that reactions tab. All right, I don't see many thumbs, but you know what? That's pretty normal. Many students do not know what career education is, so that's why I'm here. That's why we're going through this presentation, right? So many of you may even be planning on declaring a career education major and may not even know it, right? So we're going to talk about that today. And for any of you who are unsure about your major selection, that's totally normal. And that's one of the reasons we want to share our career education opportunities with you. You may even learn about some programs you've never even heard of before, right? So career education has a wide variety of pathways and career opportunities that I'll share. So first, let me answer that question. What is career education, or CE? Well, career education offers specialized programs which allow you to save time and money by preparing you to be job ready quickly. So many of you probably know career education as CTE, or career technical education. It's the same exact thing, we just dropped the T, right? So you'll save time because you can finish all of our programs in 3 years or less. And oftentimes it's a lot shorter than 3 years. So 3 years, we have our nursing program, our respiratory care program, and our electrician training program. All of our other career education programs are much shorter. And you're going to save a lot of money compared to technical schools because ARC is a lot more affordable, right? Of course, every community college in California offers 2 years free for first-time, full-time students. So do keep that in mind. It's a really amazing option. And don't be swindled by for-profit technical schools, right? we have such wonderful programs and facilities that I'll share with you. And don't spend money when you don't have to, right? Go to our amazing programs before those. And ARC offers 115 certificate options, many of which are stackable, and that means you can take required classes for one certificate pathway, and by adding a few more classes, you would be eligible to earn another certificate on top of it. And I'll talk a little about what the difference between certificate programs are and associate's degree programs. Also, some career education employers may not require a degree to employ you. So, for example, if you want to become a welder like you see in this photo, an employer may only require a certificate. And this is really important because certificate programs are a lot shorter than degree programs because they do not require general education. So let's say you want to get your certificate in interior design, for example. You can jump right into taking interior design classes and get in and out of college really quickly without taking any physical science, humanities, or any other classes for general education. Another great advantage is that all of your career education instructors are industry trained, which means that they worked in the field that they teach for a very long time, some even 15 years before becoming your instructor. And having faculty who have worked in the field they teach ensures that you get training that meets high quality industry standards to best prepare you for the workforce. And this also allows you to build a network in the field. So let's say you're a stellar student in one of your classes. Your instructor could even possibly recommend you to employers once you're ready to graduate and enter the workforce. And as you'll learn more about career education, you'll notice that a lot of our programs are very hands-on and lab-based. And you're probably wondering, how would I complete these courses in the midst of a pandemic where everything is virtual and online? Well, there's good news. Our faculty members have been really creative and have worked hard to ensure that you can still take the majority of these classes online. These even include majors in welding, automotive technology, fire technology, and much more. So let's talk about our pathways. We have a lot of pathways, and I'll only go over pathways that offer classes online or in person. And I'll touch on the ones that we are offering in person as well later on in the presentation. So some of these majors include pathways such as advanced manufacturing. This pathway includes design technology and careers such as engineering, manufacturing, architecture, material testing, and public utilities. Next, we have advanced transportation and renewables. This includes automotive technology and diesel technology. In this pathway, you can learn skills to become a mechanic and even learn how to build electric cars. Next, we have global trade and logistics, which includes careers in business, marketing, and management. This may be for you if you've considered working in human resources, or if you've considered working in diversity management, or you're interested in supply chain economics. Next, we have our health pathway, which includes careers such as fitness specialist, healthcare interpreter, paramedic, nursing, respiratory care therapist, and much, much more. We have a lot of programs in our health pathway. Next, we have our retail, hospitality, and tourism pathway, which includes culinary arts and restaurant management. Last but not least, in the left-hand bottom corner, we have life science and biotechnology. This may be for you if you're interested in science and clinical testing. And as you'll notice, you'll see that a lot of our programs are very hands-on, right? So if you are a student who really likes that environment, likes to work with your hands, our programs might be for you. And of course, I won't be able to go over all of our amazing programs because we have a lot, but I want to provide some program highlights for you. And keep in mind that all of these programs are either offered online or in person. As you can see in the photos, starting with the left-hand corner, we have respiratory care program. This is a program that will prepare you to become a respiratory care therapist. And this career is in very high demand right now due to respiratory problems brought on by COVID-19. So this program is offered in person, even right now. It's so in demand that they're taking all of the precautions to have this program in person. Next, we have commercial music. If you're interested in maybe producing your own music or being kind of behind the scenes in the music industry, this might be for you. And next, we have our paramedic program, which prepares you to become a licensed paramedic. This is yet another program that is on ground this semester, even through the shelter in place. On the bottom left, we have funeral services, which is a very unique career that's in high demand. ARC is one of 2 colleges to offer this program in California. The other one is all the way in Southern California. And I'd like to share that our ARC students who were enrolled in the program went to New York during the pandemic to help overloaded funeral homes due to COVID-19. And I'm really proud of their work. I think they're just amazing. And in this program, you can prepare to become a funeral services director or an embalmer. And if you're interested in the social work aspect or maybe the anatomy aspect of the human body, this program could possibly be for you. This program is yet another that's going to be in person. Next is early childhood education. When this program is completed successfully, you can earn your child development permit. And lastly, on this side, we have our design technology program where you can learn the latest technology in engineering design, such as AutoCAD. And we have an amazing design program and design hub. On our next slide, you'll see 2 of our programs in small business, which are real estate and accounting. With an associate's in real estate, you can prepare to become a real estate agent or a broker. And with accounting, you can enter a wide variety of careers. I always tell students, if you want a stable, steady job, this might be for you because accountants have some of the lowest rate of unemployment. And last but not least, we have our human services program. This program emphasizes working in different social services such as rehabilitation, correctional institutions, mental health clinics, and child centers. And this brings me to my next slide. I want to show you a roadmap of a certificate. So this is going to be a roadmap for a human services certificate. As you can see, you can finish the certificate in 3 semesters. So that means you don't have to take general education, although some of these classes would count towards general education if you wanted to get a degree. But this is a very short certificate that you can get. And by earning the certificate, you would be eligible to enter the workforce as a social worker assistant, community outreach worker, correctional officer, or even a crisis intake worker. This program also offers 24 hours of work experience, which is a great advantage for when you start looking for jobs as well. Certificate options are a really great option if you're maybe planning on earning an associate's degree, but you want to start your career while you're finishing up school. That's totally normal. Many of our students do that. And many of our students even graduate with an associate's degree, not realizing that they've completed the minimum requirements to earn a certificate along the way. So this is one of the many reasons that it's important to check in with your counselor every semester. All right, so on our next slide, we're gonna go share some student experiences with you. So I've talked a lot about the programs, but it always helps to hear a student's perspective. So a student in the paramedic program says, if you want a job that's exciting and gets your adrenaline going, this is definitely one of the jobs for you. That's one of the most appealing aspects of becoming a paramedic, is you never really know what's going to happen. I would say absolutely. It's a very dynamic job, something new and exciting every day, right? Next, we have a student sharing her experience in the respiratory care program who says, I find it very reasonable cost-wise in comparison to other private colleges or other universities. I think value-wise, it's one of the best. And I will say we're really lucky to have this program at ARC. This program usually is only offered at universities. So this is amazing value, especially with 2 years free. Next, last but certainly not least, we have our funeral services program again. This is a student learning embalming techniques. And in regards to the program, he says, it's not so much about the deceased, it's more about the people that they're leaving behind. And it's really rewarding to know that you're helping them through that grieving process. So he just shares his experience and how rewarding it is to help families through that time. And that is it. I was going to show a video, but I'm going to go ahead and send the link out to you all instead. Here's my contact information at the top. If you have any questions in the future, you can always email me, reach out, feel free. So thank you all so much for listening, and I will take it to my good friend, Allistair Turner from Sierra College.
Okay, thanks so much, Roxanne. It's great to see you, even if it is only virtual. So it was good to get a refresher on all the wonderful things that you can do at American River. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, with my technical expertise, is see if I can just share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so let's just... Okay, man looks for his PowerPoint. Can I not see it? Sorry, guys. Okay, thanks for your patience on that one. Hopefully you are now seeing my screen and you can see my slide deck. Let's hope so anyway.
Yes, we can. Thank you, Allistair.
Fantastic. Sorry for that. I just had a few things. So welcome to College Nights 2020 style. So obviously I love coming out and talking to students and families about, you know, programs, services, what we can offer as a community college. And so for me, I'm obviously doing this in a virtual environment. I can obviously still provide the same level of detail, but of course, don't get to meet all those wonderful students and families that I've used to visiting at Rio Americano. But I do really appreciate you all taking the time this evening to come along and check out what both American River has to offer with all their great programs. And obviously, hopefully, I can provide just a little bit of general information about community colleges and, of course, specifically what I know about, which is Sierra College. My contact details are on the screen. That is my email address, a great way of getting hold of me. So if you have any questions that you don't feel were answered during the presentation this evening, please don't hesitate to email me. Obviously, I know this presentation will also be up on the website as well, but I'm always happy to answer any specific questions afterwards. And what I'm going to do is give you probably a 20-minute overview of Sierra, of community colleges. Roxanne did a fabulous job of looking at the career and technical programs, and we have many similar programs at Sierra. I'm also going to talk a little bit more about transfer as well onto the four-year school, as I know that's a particular area of interest, and then cover a few things in between. So obviously lots to get through in the next 20 minutes. I will try not to talk too fast. I have a habit of doing that. Hopefully during this Zoom call, my accent isn't too overpowering. You might have noticed I still have a slight British accent. Been here for 15 years, but I haven't lost the accent just yet. Anyway, enough about me. You're obviously coming here to find out more about community colleges and Sierra as well. So let's get on with that. So 2 years free. Not going to spend too much time on this. This is probably something you may already have heard about, be aware of, but these are the basic requirements that are on the screen right now. And it's any first-time college student can qualify for 2 years free. So obviously it's something that we offer at Sierra. It's something American River will be offering, Sac City, Folsom Lake. And for us, the two requirements are full-time student, and you do the financial aid application, whether that's the FAFSA or the DREAM Act, the California DREAM Act. So do one of those financial aid applications and be a full-time student, and you'll get your 2 years waived. For us, full-time is 12 units, which is about 4 classes. And obviously, talking of financial aid, that application opens in a couple of weeks, would you believe? October the 1st. So if you're a parent of a senior right now, they can do their financial aid application in a couple of weeks' time. And I know, and I won't talk too much about financial aid, we've got some great people that have a wealth of experience that can talk more about that, and I'm sure there'll be some sessions for you on that. But one thing I would reassure you is if your student is looking to do the financial aid application early in October, which is fantastic, they can put down as many as 10 schools that they're thinking about attending. They don't have to decide at that point when they do the application. So obviously, that's nice. So many people that I work with obviously put down Sierra College, Sac City, UC Davis, Sac State, just put those down as they're doing the application. But 2 Years Free has been around for a number of years now, and it's supposedly an ongoing program. So we're obviously starting now working with students that are going to be coming in for next year on that program. So just a little bit about Sierra. If you did not know, we are a fairly big college. We have 20,000 students that we instruct every single year. So it's a pretty significant college. We have 5 main locations. Rocklin is by far our biggest. In any typical year, and 75% of our students would be going to the Rocklin campus. Of course, as we all know, this is not a typical year. So Sierra College right now, like many colleges and universities, is 99% online. We're all virtual, all our instruction is online. What you'll see on this slide though, is the last bullet point, distance learning, that sort of hot topic, that buzz phrase in education at the moment. That's something that Sierra has been doing for, well, I've been working at Sierra 15 years. We've always offered distance learning programs. In a typical year, about 20% of our classes were online, whether that's communication studies, English, Spanish, they were already offered online. So obviously when COVID hit in March, we transitioned obviously the rest of our classes into an online environment. So that was fairly successful in terms of the instructional quality that the students received. We'd already got a system in place. We were already used to teaching classes online. Sierra is obviously online again for the fall. A decision has not been made yet for the spring. But as I said, a lot of experience in that area. But a student that applies to Sierra College can attend, in theory, any of our 5 locations. And of course, obviously, that means online as well, something that we've been doing for a number of years. Okay, so I talked a little bit about 2 Years Free. This is just a slide that shows tuition costs. So it's not books, living expenses, and it just starts to show you the difference between what a community college, so Sierra, would cost as a full-time student and what it would cost to go to a state school like Sac State or UC Davis. And that's just the tuition. But the reason I'm really showing that slide is that often a lot of students and families that I talk with, they know that community colleges is less expensive, it's more affordable, but often there's not that same recognition that the classes that they're going to be taking are exactly the same as a student would potentially be taking at a 4-year. So students that come to Sierra or American River and do English 1A, that English 1A freshman English class would be the same class that a student would take at UC Davis, the same class that a student would take at Sac State. The only difference is the cost. The course content, the learning outcomes, what the student actually has to do, it's identical, and it has to be because those 4-year schools will accept our students as transfer students, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So students that come to us for those first 2 years do exactly the same type of classes as a student that goes straight to a 4-year. So yes, we're more affordable, and obviously not just a little bit, considerably less, but the quality of the education is exactly the same. It's rigorous college level classes. So I always just like to mention that. Oh, a bit too trigger happy tonight. Let me go back one. Okay. So in terms of what the campus offers, we have a wealth of support designed to assist students as they transition into our college, coming out of high school, coming out of places like Rio Americano or Del Campo or Bella Vista. So we have the building you can actually see here is our Learning Resource Center, tutoring, counseling, tons of support. Right now, all of that is offered virtually. So we have virtual counseling hours via Zoom, we have online tutoring, all the support, all the programs that we've always provided are now being done in a virtual environment. So myself, for example, I'm an outreach specialist. So I'm out and about in local high schools all the time, talking to students and families. Right now, what am I doing? I'm pretty much a professional Zoom bomber. I'm jumping in and out of different classes. I'm coming in. And for me, 1 minute I'm at Lincoln High School. 5 minutes later, I'm talking to students at Whitney High or Rockland High. And so we're still providing the same level of service. And we're obviously trying to do it in a completely different way to support students as they start making these decisions about, you know, which college should they attend next year? You know, what programs are available? What's available to them? So I'm just here supporting students as best I can, and the rest of our campus is doing exactly the same, all their services having gone virtual. Small class sizes. The reason I mention that, the reason I have a slide on that, is because many four-year schools, wonderful though they are, many of those freshman classes, much larger. Obviously right now it seems kind of ironic that I'm talking about small classes when we're talking about, you know, social distancing and limiting class sizes. But at a community college, it's always been the case that our English classes, our comms studies, our science labs, they're always 25, 30 students. It's always been smaller classes. And that's one of the things our students love. And even in this distance learning environment, so as I mentioned, our classes right now for the fall semester, majority of our students are online. All the classes are still 30 students, 25, 30 students. They're still getting that smaller individualized attention that you would expect. And they really enjoy that. Professors offering virtual office hours, all those things. We do have a few classes on ground at the moment. Our welding, our mechatronics program, it's pretty difficult to do that virtually. And so they are being offered in person, obviously with all the health requirements that you would expect, wearing of masks and things like that. But small classes is always something that the college has been able to offer. Another thing about our professors, many of them have PhDs, not just masters. They don't have teaching assistants. They're in the class working with the students consistently. So unlike four-year schools where many professors have other requirements, our teachers 100% focused on the success of their students. So that's really important, something to talk about. So what's this? What am I showing you here? This is something that Sierra College did about 3 or 4 years ago now. So we have over 70 programs, and it was interesting. Roxanne was talking about all the great programs that American River have, and they have some fabulous programs. But that's a lot of programs for students to start looking at and thinking, you know, what am I interested in? What is something that I want to do? What career pathway do I want to follow? So we looked at our 70 programs. We looked at all the different degrees that we offer, and we put them into one of 9 interest areas. And you'll see all the interest areas on the screen here. Now, what that does is it allows students to start not having to decide which of the 70 degrees, but which one of these areas might they be interested in and explore within that area. We're really trying to encourage students as they come to Sierra to come with a plan. We know things can change and that's fine, but to come with a plan of what they're aiming to achieve. And we work a lot with career exploration, do a lot of exercises prior to them enrolling to make sure that they are in the classes that are the best fit for their needs, their interest, and their career. So for example, if a student wants to become an EMT or nursing, that would be our public safety and health and wellness, which is the interest area at the bottom. If they're more into sort of history, things like that, that would be people, cultures, and society. Our mechatronics, which is our electronics robotics program, that's then our applied technologies. So we've grouped them all together to assist as students start looking at their pathway through our college and their qualification. Because before we did that, this is what we had. And if you see on the left of the screen, that's a lot of degrees and certificates for students to start looking at and go, what's okay, look. So we really work with them to try and get them on that path that's the best fit for them. We have a ton of resources on our website. I've just pulled up the academics on the other side here. We have a career coach. You can do career assessments. We've got explore pathways. We can show you what jobs need what qualifications. So a lot of great resources on our website here that I'd encourage you to check out if you have a chance. And then obviously look at all our degree programs as well. Okay. So what I want to do for the next few minutes is just talk a little bit about what transfer looks like for a community college student going from a 2-year to a 4-year, because obviously Sierra is a 2-year community college, just like American River. And so every year we have many students that look to complete the transfer requirements to then move on to a 4-year. For us, if you're looking at those two different systems, for the California State University system, most of our students are looking to go to Sacramento State, Chico, or San Francisco State. On the UC side, it's more UC Davis or UC Berkeley are the top ones on that side. But for students, as I mentioned, first 2 years, whether they're at UC Davis, Sac State, or Sierra College, they're doing exactly the same general education lower division classes. So our students will do those. They need to complete at least 60 to be transfer ready, and then they can move on into the 3rd year at these 4-year schools. We also see a lot of students that will go to out-of-state schools and will go to private schools within California as well. This is a very popular pathway, so popular in fact that in any given year, and I've been doing this for a number of years, and the percentages typically stay the same. In any given year, about 55% of students that graduate from the CSU system started at a community college. And for the UC system, in any given year, it's more likely to be 30%. One question I often get asked is, well, SATs, ACTs, and there's a lot of discussion about those standardized tests right now and 4-year requirements and getting in. If you're coming from a community college and you're transferring, it's most likely that those 4-year schools won't be looking or needing SATs or ACTs, because you as a community college transfer student have done the first 2 years of their degree program anyway. They're not going to be looking at SAT or even require SAT or ACT scores. The other thing I would mention is that Sierra College, and I'm fairly certain American River do as well, is we do give AP credit for students that have taken the exam. For us, if you score 3 and above, we'll give you the appropriate credit at Sierra and obviously work with you to make sure that you get the same credit when you transfer across. So as I said, we work with our students. The goal is to get them to 60 units. That's the requirement before they then transfer on to the 4-year school. And they obviously transfer straight into that junior year. That's the idea. These are the 6 schools that we have guaranteed agreements with, the 6 UCs. That's fairly typical. Most community colleges have similar programs. We don't have a guaranteed pathway with UCLA, UC Berkeley. They're obviously highly selective. Many students, though, from our school still go to those schools. We just don't have that guaranteed pathway. What these transfer agreements allow you to do is to do something called a tag, where you can tag with one school, and if you meet the certain GPA requirements, do the right classes, you're guaranteed to get into that school. Often, though, you'll have to individually apply to the departments within that school for the program you're interested in. You can do one tag, so you can't tag with all 6 of these schools. You could do, for example, one with, say, UC Davis, and you could apply independently to a different UC on this list or another school completely. Our transfer students are a bit like seniors in high school. Seniors in high school applying to a number of different colleges. Our transfer students are the same thing. They'll apply to a number of different schools. So we'll have students that will maybe tag with UC Davis, but then apply directly to Chico, San Francisco State, and things like that. So that's the tag. We also offer something called an associate degree for transfer. We have 30 of these programs. They are designed for a smooth pathway into the CSU system. So primarily, if you do one of these degrees, you're probably looking to get into the CSU. We have students that are obviously doing these and are going to the UC as well, but these are primarily to smooth the pathway through into the CSU system. And as I said, there's over 30 of these degrees that we offer. A question I'll often get asked as well is, well, my son's interested or my daughter is interested in engineering, but I don't see it on your list. Can they still transfer in that subject? Absolutely. It's just we don't have that same relationship and pathway. But if there are subjects on here, I mean, if there are subjects that your daughter or son are interested in and they're not listed, it doesn't mean they can't transfer in them. It's just that we don't have that like named pathway. For example, we don't have a chemical engineering program at Sierra College. We don't have a computer engineering program. at Sierra, but can you do the right classes to get accepted into four-year schools? You know, absolutely. But our counselors and our admission counselors will work with students on that to get through that pathway. Something I want to highlight as well, if you have a senior right now or even a junior, and obviously looking at their schedule, particularly for the spring, what I always recommend is maybe picking up some college credit while you're in high school. And American River has a great program. Sierra has a very similar program. High school students can earn credit while they're in high school. That's UC, CSU transferable. While you're in high school, it's free. Also, importantly, it doesn't count against your 2 years free at Sierra or American River. So you can take the college credit. It doesn't count against you. It doesn't mean it disqualifies you. You still qualify for the 2 years free. So that's just always something I talk about. Getting some early college classes completed is a great opportunity, particularly right now. I know that sounds kind of strange, but Sierra went online completely, which has actually made these classes a lot more accessible to college students. To high school students to take these college classes, because before it was always challenging for students to get onto our campus maybe during the college day, because obviously they're in high school, and we always offered online classes, but as I said, online was always really popular, so we only ever offered 20% of our classes online, and they would often fill up the fastest. Right now, we're offering 99% of our classes online, so it has really allowed a lot of high school students to take classes at Sierra because they can get into those online classes. So that's been an interesting sort of outcome of the current situation. A lot of information on this website, sierracollege.edu/CHS, which stands for College in High School. So if you're interested in that program, I would recommend that you check that out on our website. A lot of good information on that program there. And that's something that I always talk about, and particularly right now, usually it would be sometimes challenging for students slightly further away from Rocklin or Roseville, but as I said, with it being online, it's made those programs a lot more accessible and a lot wider service area, basically. Okay, so just quickly, this is the enrollment. If you have a student that's interested in enrolling in Sierra for next fall, our application actually opens in 2 weeks. Can you believe? Oh my goodness. So we open our application October the 1st. So obviously a lot of 4 years are open or have been open or opening right now. Their application Sierra opens on October the 1st. So if your student wanted to apply to Sierra, get one application in, they can do it in a couple of weeks. The nice thing is, application fee, it's not like a CSU where there's a $70, $80 application fee. It's a free application. These are all the enrollment steps, and they get a welcome email. And we'll talk about 2 years free. There's some steps. They need to meet with a counselor, and they probably wouldn't do that till early next year. And that counseling component is really important. It's part of our career and academic plan. And so all those programs that I was talking about, Roxanne was talking about, that will be discussed in that meeting. We also have them do some career exploration. We have a lot of resources. We require them to do a couple of surveys and do some very specific career exploration before they even meet with the counselor. We want students to start thinking about that. Obviously, your student may have already done that. They may be doing that career exploration, but we have a lot of tools. We have a career coach system on our website. It asks you 60 questions, all that sort of fun stuff. So we use a lot of career exploration before they get to the point where they do the career and academic planning with the counselor. And then registration. So if you have a senior right now, they can apply to the school in October. They will probably be registering in classes with us around about April of next year. That's when they would actually register. And as you can see down the side, apply for financial aid. Critical, critical, critical. So that opens on October 1st. I am delighted to say that, this year we have had about 90% of our incoming class of freshmen did a financial aid application. 90%. That's pretty impressive. I have somebody with their hand raised. I wonder if that line can be sensitive enough to be able to unmute them. Let's see. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Watching man look at. Oops.
So my question is, how many credits do you need to get into a community college?
How many credits do you need to get into a community college?
Yes.
Great question. So basically you're asking about our admission requirements. Okay, so yeah, okay. So what I love about community college, whether it's American River or Sierra College, is, you know, that horrible thing about admit rates, and you know what the admit rate is for UC Davis, UC Berkeley, what's the admit rate for Harvard. Do you want to take a guess at what our admit rate is? I can hear lots of people thinking, what's he going on about? It's 100%. We accept everybody. We meet you where you are. So there isn't a GPA requirement. Obviously, we're looking for students to have completed the high school diploma, but we're not asking for a particular GPA that you need to have done. What I would say though, your grades in high school are extremely important, because the better you've done, potentially in like your math sequences, the higher your place into classes at Sierra College. So that's also important for English as well. So your high school grades are extremely important. They set you up for success. Also, based on your grades in high school, what languages you completed, science, things like that will depend on when you there start within our sequencing at the college. But in terms of admission, everybody, which is what I love, open access. Anybody that needs our help, anybody that needs our support, they can come to Sierra College. Yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked that. Okay, so talking of getting in, that's our enrollment plan. So that's how you would get through, and that's very similar for most community colleges as well. Okay, on to the next slide. So if you go onto our website, go onto that apply page, actually a little chat box will open up. That one that you see on the left-hand side here, that help center, you can chat live with our folks, you know, between 9 and 3, or you can leave them messages outside our office hours. So if you want to go onto our apply page tomorrow, if you've looked at this little screen that I showed you with our website address, sierracollege.edu/apply, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, let's have a look on that, have a look at that page. You go on that page, a little chat box will open up. So if you want to tell them how useless the British guy was at your seminar last night, I'm sure they would laugh very hard, because they'll know who that British guy is, because there's not too many of us working at Sierra. But anyway, that's where you can, you know, use information. We're trying to make it as easy and accessible for students as well. And we have a help center email down there as well, and obviously a phone, but I would recommend the chat, something that we introduced in the last month as well. Ton of support programs. I know I've only got about 5 minutes left, so I want to just give the time that these support programs deserve. There is a ton of support for students at Sierra College. We have support for students who are first in their family to go to college. If your student has a 504 or an IEP, there are specific counselors that can provide accommodations and services for those students. We have a wonderful TRIO program, which is first generation students. If you do one of those financial aid applications, find out that you have significant financial need, that opens up all sorts of opportunities for different programs, counseling requirements. We have an undocumented student center as well. And we also have something for former foster youth. So a lot of transitional programs are available as well. Okay, so those support programs obviously are all right now being offered virtual, but we can always provide assistance. Okay. Claire, you had a question? I'll meet you.
Yeah, so about housing, like housing, don't you guys do like dorms and stuff?
Great question, Claire. So yes, we do. You're probably now going to say, well, and what are you doing with that? So right now they're closed. They closed obviously in March. So we're not currently offering that on-campus experience. Not sure what's going to happen in the spring. I'll be totally honest with you. A decision hasn't been made on what happens with the dorms in the spring. I was told that a decision will be made in the next month or so. So that's the latest that I have. So Claire, you now have the latest information as well. Obviously, if you're a senior right now, the expectation is that those dorms would be available again in the fall of next year and be operational. But as we know, things are constantly changing. It's a shared living facility. It is about $3,800 for the semester. So it's fairly competitive in terms of what it costs of a 4-year. We only have 120 spaces. So it's not huge. So it usually operates a wait list. If you are not a a senior, but maybe a freshman or a freshman or a sophomore, we're actually looking to build more dorms. They're obviously not going to be built in the next year, but that's something that we are looking to expand. But yeah, great question with the dorms. Okay, Robina had a question.
Yes. So I wanted to know, does Sierra have a nursing program too?
Could you repeat that again, Robina, just a bit louder? I didn't quite catch the question, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So I want to know if Sierra has a nursing program too, like RC.
Okay, thank you. So the question was about our nursing program. We do have an extensive nursing program. We have a nursing village on our campus. It is extremely popular. So I'll be very honest with you. That's one of the programs that is heavily impacted. Many of our programs aren't. So every year we have 40 spaces in our nursing program, and they get way more applications than they have space for. But to apply to the nursing program, you need to have done 10 prerequisite classes. Now you do those classes while you're at Sierra College working towards an allied health degree. So you work towards a degree while completing the classes that make you eligible for the nursing program. Our counselor would talk a lot more detail about that. We also encourage all what we would call pre-nursing students. So if you were interested in our program, we would classify you as a pre-nursing student. We would talk about all our pre-nursing students as having to take an allied health class as well. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. Okay. I think I've just got a couple more slides, guys. I just want to quickly promote financial aid. It's out there. It starts next month. All the information is on this slide. Also, I know Rio will be doing a great job, probably offering workshops. They probably have already promoted it. And we're offering a lot of workshops in October as well. So that's all about financial aid. Sports, obviously not right now, but in the spring, they look to all those great sports will be coming back, and we're the Wolverines. And we have preview day. So talking about our nursing program, Robina, we have preview day on October the 17th. It's virtual. All the information is on our events page right now. And you can come online through the wonderful world of Zoom, and you'll get presentations. You can watch recorded presentations. There'll be Q&A, student panels. So if you're interested in learning more about Sierra College, if you're like, Allistair talked really fast for 25 minutes, I'd like to learn more, come to the virtual preview day and check all that out. And then all my contact information is there. So that's my email address, aturner@sierracollege.edu. Obviously, if you prefer to talk to somebody else at Sierra College, you can always email outreach@sierracollege.edu, and they are just as helpful as well. But hopefully that gave you a flavor of what Sierra College can offer. Obviously, it's been a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but I just wanted to give you some general information about the school and also about transfer opportunities and programs that we offer at Sierra College. I appreciate you sticking with me, and that is pretty much where we are, unless there's time for any questions, but I'll let Evelyn sort of navigate that.
Thank you, Allistair, for your presentation. Are there any more questions that students might have before Allistair gets off? We might have some time at the end as well to answer any more questions.
Oh, absolutely happy to hang out if anybody has any questions at the end. And obviously we've left the best till last. Roxanne gave such a nice intro for me, but I'm actually excited to listen to Jazzie. She's going to be on next, I believe. And yes. I've known Jazzie for a number of years and always enjoy listening to what she has to say. So I'm going to be hanging around as well, just to find out what's been going on at American River. So thanks, everybody.
Yeah, there were a couple of hands raised. I don't know if they're still there or not, or we can see them, but.
Oh, yes, we have Maria. Let's go ahead and unmute her.
Hi. Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Go for it, Maria.
So when should we apply for that fall 2021 again? I missed that part.
So you can start applying October 1st.
October 1st?
Yes.
Okay, and when can we choose the classes?
That would likely be, and it hasn't been decided right now, it's likely going to be the end of April. That's when it usually is.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your question.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Nevaeh.
Hi. So I was wondering if you guys have any law programs for social justice, or social justice worker.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a number of programs. That's a great question about social justice. Actually, we would actually want to sign you up to join our club as well. So we have a social justice club. They're always looking for student advocates for some of those club positions. But yes, we have a pretty extensive social justice program.
Okay, thank you.
And I think Vincent has a question.
Yes, let's ask Vincent or see what Vincent has to say.
Okay, hello, Allistair. I'm Vincent's mom.
Hey, Vincent's mom, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm wondering if you guys, I noticed on the ARC website that there are registration priority groups. And can you talk about that? Does Sierra College have the same kind of thing?
We do have the same kind of thing. So certain programs get priority. So if a student has an IEP or a 504 plan, former foster youth, if they're in some of our support programs, EOPS. We also, and American River probably have it, I think they do it with their Achieve. We also have a program for local high school students. So unfortunately, Rio is not in our service area, so we wouldn't offer a priority registration for Rio students, but we do have different levels of priority for our athletes and the other programs that I mentioned as well.
We're in Bella Vista High School. Is that one of the priorities?
No, so interestingly enough, we do get a considerable amount of students from Bella Vista, and we probably get maybe, I'm going to get this wrong, so don't quote me, but it was probably about 70 or 80 students from Bella Vista every year come to Sierra College. So it's a pretty significant school for us, but it's obviously part of the San Juan School District. So that school district as a whole is not in Sierra College's service area. So although students in Bella Vista, Casa, it's an option for them because of the location and everything, and we do get a number of students from there that come to us. They're not going to get what we would call promised priority, but there's all sorts of other things that we would work towards. And to be honest with you, if a student does everything in a timely manner and actually gets all their ducks in a row, so that on the first day of registration, whenever new student registration starts, they should be able to get the majority of their classes. If they want to do human anatomy that first semester, maybe not, but everything else, pretty much, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. That was a great question.
Okay, so we have 2 more questions. We have Andrew and Christopher. We'll start with Andrew.
Now, what if I started? Hey, Andrew.
Hello.
What's your question?
So I was just wondering, like, how extensive and how many people decide to like go into the civil engineering program if you have it.
So we have a general engineering program. What you've got to remember, and this is the same for a lot of different sort of pathways, is you're going to do the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree with us before moving on to a specific program. So you're going to be looking at getting into a civil engineering program at a 4-year. What our counselors are going to do is they're going to encourage you to look at something called assist.org. I'll spell that for you. It's ASSIST.org, where you would look at a 4-year program, obviously look which ones offer civil engineering, because clearly they're not all going to offer it, and make sure that you can do the right classes at Sierra that meet those transfer requirements.
Okay.
That's obviously just a little bit of research on your behalf. It's something our counselors will do as well. But then that goes for many of our different programs. If you'd said like chemical engineering, for example,
press conference, but also it sounds like more of a town.
Okay, hopefully that answers your question, Andrew.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
Okay, and our last question is Christopher. And if anyone has any questions later on, if we have time, we'll definitely circle back to you.
Go for it, Christopher.
Hi, I'm just wondering if you could talk about your administration of justice program and what it would take to get through there.
I think, and I don't know if it was just me that you cut off, but I think you're saying the administration of justice program at Sierra College. So we have a criminal justice program at the school, and it has 3 different concentrations: courts, corrections, and probation are the 3 areas. We have a very good relationship, obviously, with Sac State. Sac State has a pretty extensive criminal justice program, and so a lot of our students are looking to transfer into that program. But it is one of our popular programs. To nursing business. So if that's an area of interest for you, I would definitely recommend checking out Sierra College as one of those options. It's one of our strong programs. as I mentioned. There's a great intro class. It's called Intro to Administration of Justice. I'm not sure what grade level you are, but it's almost something you might want to think about doing in the spring. Do an intro class in the spring, because it will talk about the career. And it's a college level class, but it'll be a great spring class to take, so that you could really go, yep, this is something I'm really interested in. This is what I want to do going forward. It will talk more about the pathway as well, but also you're taking it while you're still in high school, so it's not committing you to that program as well. That would be something I would suggest. Okay, thanks guys. I appreciate all your questions.
Thank you again, Allistair, for sharing all the amazing programs and student support services Sierra Colleges has to offer. Last but not least, we have Jazzie, oh, I knew I was gonna mess up her last name. I'm sorry, Murphy. She's an interim dean, does outreach, coordinates the Achieve program and Pathway Communities with American River College. That's a lot of hats to wear. Thanks, the floor is yours, Jazzie.
Greetings, Rioers. My name is Jazzie Muganazo Murphy. I use she, her, they, them pronouns. As you heard, I'm the interim dean for Outreach, first year experience in Pathway Communities at AR. It's really just a long way to say that for students, I'm responsible for your experience from the moment that you apply to AR to the moment you step foot off of our campus. A lot of what I want to share with you tonight, you've already heard from my colleagues. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to highlight some things that maybe are a little bit different, or things that you should know about. As you heard, I oversee our Achieve program, and that's what I really want to spend my time with you talking about. 2020 has been a crazy year, probably for all of us, the longest year of our lifetime. But I really want to focus on achieving more in 2021. It will be here before you know it. And so you are perfectly positioned here tonight to hear a little bit more about how to do that. So ARC, as you know, we're California Community College. We're actually one of the top 3 largest in the state. We have just over 30,000 students, so very comparable to Sac State or a small town. And it really is a small community at American River College. In addition to the career education programs that you heard about, we offer associate degrees, both the Associate of Arts, the Associate of Science, and also the Associate Degree for Transfer, which is sometimes called an ADT or an AAT or an AST. Lots of letters, not a whole lot to worry about. The main thing with the Associate Degree for Transfer is that T, which basically means that when your student, or if you as a student, when you transfer to a 4-year, you are transferring at junior sitting. You might be wondering, well, why is that important? Isn't everybody that transfers to a 4-year a junior? But you might be surprised to find out that a lot of students transfer with the 60 units in the minimum requirements, only to find out that those 60 units weren't in the right places. And so sometimes they're at sophomore standing, if not freshman standing, in their majors. So the Associate Degree for Transfer, that ADT, really ensures that you are transferring at junior standing when you get to the 4-year. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but just be aware that we have those associate degrees, we have the ADT, and we have a large number of certificates that you can also pursue at AR. I oversee the Achieve program. The Achieve program is our first year experience program, really focused on making sure that you as a student start right and finish strong. Everything that we do is centered around your experience being a time in college student. Last year in our program, about 60% of our students were recent high school graduates. So you'd be joining a rather large community when you enter American River. To be a part of the Achieve program, all you need to do is be a first time in college student. There's no application, there's no requirements, there's no special steps that you need to take. So long as it's your very first semester in college after graduating or after completing high school, you are automatically in the Achieve program. And so the kind of the face of the program is focused these first 4 tenets that you see in front of you. First is financial. My colleagues have talked about the free tuition, and I have a slide about it, but know that the most important thing is to submit the financial aid application. And whether that's the FAFSA or whether that's the California DREAM Act application, it's super important that you submit it. Even if you don't think that you're going to qualify. Before I got to AR, I spent a number of years working in financial aid, talking to families, hearing, oh, well, we're not going to qualify, we make too much money. And while that may be the case, having a financial aid application on file oftentimes puts you as a student in the running for additional resources that become available throughout the year. So just a quick example, when the pandemic first, there were federal dollars funneled to the community colleges. The community colleges looked for students that had financial need, and the only way for us to identify that was through a financial aid application. So only students who had an application on file were considered for those dollars. So even if you don't think that you're going to qualify, submit the application. As you heard, it's available October 1st of every year. So just in a couple of weeks here, time to not only apply to any CSUs that you're interested in, any community colleges that you're interested in, but it'll also be time to your financial aid application for next fall. So lots of big things coming up here just in a couple of weeks. So students, be sure to write all of that down, because those are important dates. So we're really focused on, you know, the financial piece and making sure you as a student are in the running to get as many of the free dollars as absolutely possible. I talked about the academic offerings that we have at AR. We are a guided pathways institution, which basically means that from the moment you start at American River College, we want to make sure that every course that you're taking means something and does something for you. Even if you're undecided on a major or a pathway, working closely with our counselors will make sure that any course that you take will either apply to your ultimate educational goal or help you transfer if that's a part of your plan. It's a community initiative. So as you heard with Sierra College, they have 9 areas of interest. At AR, we have 8. We've gone a step further from identifying those areas of interest to creating success teams around each of those areas of interest. So regardless of what you're studying, you will be placed on a success team that has a few important players. One is counselors. I think students know what I mean if I say your counselor is the plug. Your counselor at American River College is the plug. They are your direct connection to resources, to transfer, to complete your goal. If you're thinking about one major and you decide to change your mind, your counselor is going to be that person to navigate all of that with you. You have an assigned counselor. I think most of our success teams have 2 to 3 counselors assigned. So you don't have to worry about who we're going to meet with, or can you build or establish a relationship with the same counselors. Being a part of the Achieve program grants you that. You also have a success coach. This person is a full-time staff member, and they are basically your navigator. They remind you of important dates and deadlines, help you navigate questions. If you're not sure where to go or what to do or how to ask a question, your success coach is that go-to for you. There's also peer mentors on your success team, which are basically student leaders, students who've already completed their first year, and they can give you that peer-to-peer advice. What's a way to build your schedule? What are great places to study or to live? Different things like that. Your peer mentors can really provide that sort of advice and guidance for you. And then in addition to those members on your success team, there are a ton of clubs and organizations, a ton of support programs similar to you heard at Sierra, whether you're looking for community around your identity, around your race or your ethnicity, around an area of interest, or being a first generation college student, there is a community for you at American River College. If none of those things resonate with you, then Achieve will be go-to for you during your first year. Once you're done with that first year, Achieve will then transition you into our home bases. Our home bases provide that very similar support, but to all of our students that are in their second year and beyond. And then last, but definitely not least, We know you're going to college to complete a goal, to get good grades, to become a global citizen, but we also want you to have a good time. So in addition to the academic support that's provided through Achieve, we put on different types of events, even virtual events. So far, we had a virtual dance party. In July and August, we hosted a Netflix watch party followed by a post-film discussion. We do social media raffles, Instagram lives, really just trying to create that community that we're virtual and make sure that our students feel connected. It's your first year in college, and while you're focused on doing well in your classes, we also want you to have a good time. So that's a little bit about sort of the face of the Achieve program, what we provide for you. You may be asking, well, why is this important? Why do we do it? And just a few reasons here. First of all, we believe in our students and we support you. We know that providing this sort of wraparound support, these personal connections, just time communication, are proven practices to help our students not only do well in their first year, but persist into their second year and ultimately complete their educational goals. And so that's really what we're focused on. Everything that we do and Achieve is really geared and targeted toward supporting them in their first year and helping them connect the dots. So what's next? A lot of this you've heard already. October the 1st is when you can submit your application for next fall. If you're a senior on this call and you are potentially graduating early and you want to start at American River in the spring, that application is open now, so you can apply now for the spring 21 semester. The FAFSA or the DREAM Act application, again, just a reminder, that opens up October the 1st of every year. Even if you don't think that you're going to qualify, I encourage everyone to submit a financial aid application. My daughter's a sophomore at Rio, and I get those robocalls about the lunch application. The FAFSA is like almost exactly the same. Like, even if you don't think you're going to qualify for free lunch, still put that application in. FAFSA and the DREAM Act application operate the exact same way. After you apply, you'll have an e-services account, which is basically your student portal, and also a Los Rios Gmail account will be set up for you. I'll show you where those are in just a second, but those are two distinct portals, but two very important ways that our campus communicates with you after you apply. After you do that, you'll want to make sure that you attend a Get Connected session. It's basically an online, it's usually in person, which is what I was about to say, but it's an online interactive orientation. It gives you as a student everything that you need to know to get ready to register for your first semester. The question came up earlier about, well, when do we actually enroll in our classes? At American River, that's likely going to be in May. So you'll be submitting your application in October, probably attending a Get Connected session in April, and registering in May. A big tip that I want to share with you is, regardless of where ARC falls on your priority, make sure that you submit an application and make sure you stay on top of your timeline. The worst thing that happens is I see students are planning to go to their #1 school, whatever that school is, something doesn't work out, and they don't find out until almost August, right before school starts at AR, and then they come late in the game to do the application, to figure out what classes are available. And a lot of times, by the time we get to August, it's slim pickings and it's very stressful for students at that point. So no matter what your ultimate goal is, do be sure to put an application into AR, make sure that you do your FAFSA DREAM Act application, list American River there as well, and then attend one of those Get Connected sessions. Even if you ultimately decide not to attend AR, having all your ducks in a row leading up to will save you a lot of stress in the end. And then after that, you enroll. And then that's where a lot of our work in the Achieve program picks up, is once you're actually enrolled for your first semester. You heard about the free tuition. Just want to distinguish a couple of things. There are two promises out there, and I know it's very confusing. One of the promises, California Promise Grant. It's formerly the BOG fee waiver. So I know a lot of folks are familiar with BOG fee waiver. There's no more BOG. It's just called the California Promise Grant. It's income-based, just like BOG fee waiver was. You need to be a California resident as well. What's new is the Los Rios Promise Program. And our Promise Program covers your tuition for 2 years, so long as you enroll full-time, which as you heard earlier is 12 units, you're a California resident, and you submit that FAFSA every year in October. As long as you do that every semester, your tuition will be covered for 2 years. That's huge. When you're weighing your decisions on where to pursue higher ed, you saw the chart earlier about the cost to attend our UC, CSUs, and privates. With the Promise Program, it's virtually free. There's a couple of fees out there that are, I think, around less than $50, but you compare that to the thousands that some of our larger institutions are asking. You can't beat the deal that the community colleges are offering, and the quality is just the same. Many of our instructors that teach at American River also teach at Sac State and UC Davis. So very similar experience for a fraction of the price. So here you can connect with us. Even though we're virtual, we have a live chat room. We have an email address. All of these are monitored throughout the day. I would like to just show you a couple of things on our website that will be important for you to know. Give me just 2 seconds and I will show you how to get to a few things. So this is ARC's website. It's arc.losrios.edu. To find the Achieve page, right here under Why ARC. Achieve is the last option in that accordion. You can email us, as I mentioned. You can also chat live with us during our business hours. And we also have a Google form if you're okay with maybe like a 24-hour reply time. Our Achieve vision and mission, as well as our counselors and our coaches, can be found there. So if you want to see who you're going to be working with, visit our page to get that information. I talked earlier about areas of interest. Back on our homepage, you can see the 8 areas of interest that we offer at American River. If you click on any of these, it will let you know which majors are being served in each of those areas. Again, if you're not sure which major you're interested in, totally okay. If you can narrow down an area of interest, that's great. If not, if you know, like, hey, I definitely know that I don't want to do math and science. That was me. I was a communication major, knew I didn't want to do math and science. We can also start from there. So be thinking about some of those things as you prepare to meet with the counselor. They'll definitely be looking to you to help kind of guide the conversation. And that's where the tables really turn when you get in college. Instead of, us directing a lot of information at you, we are leaning on you to help us guide the conversation, to share with us what your interests are, what your career goals are. The last thing that I'll show you really quick, under academics, under programs and majors, is where you get a good guide on what types of courses are going to be recommended for you. I'm going to choose Administration of Justice because I heard someone ask about that earlier. You can see that we offer an AS degree, so that's the Associate of Science. There's the AST, and again, remember when you see that T, that means it's a transfer. You're going in at junior standing at your 4-year, and then we also offer a certificate. If you click on that, not only give you a program overview, but it will also give you a roadmap. And on your roadmap, it will outline for you semester by semester what the courses that are recommended for you. So again, looking at that transfer degree, if you want to be full-time. And what you'll see here is each semester, what courses that program is recommending. Of course, we want you to make your course selection in consultation with the counselor. But as you're preparing for that first counseling meeting, the roadmaps give you a pretty good indication of what types of courses are going to work best to complete this degree in 2 years. You heard us talk about full-time enrollment being 12 units, but if you're trying to get out in 4 semesters, 12 times 4, again, not a math person, but 12 times 4, 48 units. In order to get out, get that 60 in 4 semesters, you're going to want to be hitting that 15 units each term and or looking to maximize going to summer school to pick up those additional units. So for each of our programs, you can kind of scroll through the roadmaps to see what's recommended for you. But again, try not to be overwhelmed by all of this. These are just additional resources to help you when you meet with your counselor for the very first time. So I'm excited to meet with you all tonight. Again, I encourage you to put an application into American River College, regardless of where we fall on your priority, even though I know we're your #1 school. Get that application in and make sure that you stay on top of the timelines. It'll save you just this amount of stress as you get to your very first day of your fall semester. So I'll stop there. I'll take any questions or I'll hand it back over to our host to facilitate that.
Thank you, Jazzie. We have a hand from Maria. Maria, go ahead.
Hi, my question is, when is the application, when should we submit our application for the full 2021?
October the 1st. So that's the application date and the financial aid application date.
So we should submit it October 1st?
Yep.
So what about if we did submit it like later than that? Is that okay?
That's okay as well. October 1st is the first day that it becomes available.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question.
Okay, next we have Caitlin.
So yeah, if my daughter is going to be, she ended up going through independent studies, so she'll be done in December. If she wanted to start at AR in the spring, I know she can apply now, but what about for the FAFSA? Will she still qualify to be able to get the free tuition, even if, you know, if it's this spring?
Yes, that's a great question. And so the FAFSA that she would be doing is actually the 2021 to get financial aid for spring 21. If you go onto FAFSA's website in October, you'll see 2 different aid years. There'll be the 21-22, but for spring 21, she'll want to do the 2021 FAFSA, and yet would still be eligible for the free tuition so long as she enrolls full time, which is 12 units.
Okay.
Okay, do we have any more questions for either Allistair, Roxanne, or Jazzie? We have Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
So for students who are seniors and wanting to take advanced ed or academic enrichment in the spring, but also be applying for full-time in the fall, can they do the 2 applications just at the same time after October 1st?
Yes, I think I understood. So if your student wants to do advanced ed, meaning take college courses while they're still a high school student, yes, they can still do the application. Advanced ed has its own website. I'll put that in the chat. I will send that to the host. Yeah, I'll send that to the host and have them submit it. But there's orientation sessions that our advanced ed team will host. And they'll cover all the specifics on how your student would actually get enrolled. I imagine this is for the spring term.
Thank you.
And very similar to Jazzie, Sierra's almost exactly the same. We would obviously want the student to do their spring application where they would indicate that they're going to be in college and high school at the same time. And then after they've submitted that, they would then, and I know this sounds weird to the student, they would then submit a fall application, but this one would then say they're going to be a first-time college student having graduated from high school. It's really important, those 2 questions, otherwise they'll get coded incorrectly and probably American river system as well as ours. But as I mentioned earlier, it's a wonderful way of getting a head start. It was interesting watching Jazzie's presentation, because that pathways roadmap that she shows, you can see some of those intro classes that students might want to think about doing in the spring. And obviously, the tuition is free while they're still in high school and doesn't count against their 2 years. Good to see you, Scott, by the way, virtually.
You too, thank you.
Okay, we have Nessa. Nessa?
Yeah, so I had a question. So after we register for ARC, can we schedule an appointment with our counselors to figure out like our path?
That's a great question. So after you apply, technically the next step is to get connected. At the Get Connected session, we go over everything you need to know to get ready to register. You should be feeling pretty good after that, but if you do still need to meet with the counselor coming out of that Get Connected session, the Achieve program has appointment slots for you, and we schedule your appointment at the conclusion of that session.
Okay, if there's no more questions, let me check to make sure. At the bottom, there's no more. Okay, well, we want to thank all of our presenters. I hope you found their presentations to be insightful, educational, and inspiring when making your future community college decisions. Thank you to our students, staff, and parents for spending the evening with us. We hope to see you back here tomorrow night for our 4-year college night. I'm sure they will have great information for you as well. Have a good night, and thank you for being patient through our technical difficulties, and see you tomorrow.